Hey guys, and welcome to one of my favourite tournament games I've had in a very, very long time. I'm a Rubber Duck of War leading the forces of the Tomb Kings up against the God of War himself, ODM's very own Xiphos. Now, this was from the Content Creators Tournament, which was being hosted by the Green One. If you want to see our entire best of three, make sure to tune into his Twitch channel, and you'll be able to see that glorious stuff in the future. We did play quite a few games, and some of them were not very close, but this one was the closest game, and it's why I wanted to showcase it today. It comes right down to the very bare bones of both armies. Without further ado, let's hop in here and have a little look at the build. So I counterpicked the Wood Elves with the Tomb Kings. I actually think this is slightly Wood Elf favoured in general, but I have a scheme or two and a build I quite like for the Tomb King forces, and it's relatively simple. You go wide. Very, very wide. We have Skeleton Spearmen dotted all the way through the front line. We actually have 5 units of these bad boys in different positions, just kind of guarding the front. And then we have a load of Tomb Guard as well, the elitist infantry that the Tomb Kings can bring to bear, though that's not saying too much. We have Tomb Guard dotted all the way around, so in the back burners, as well as a couple of units with halberds. And in the center, we have the Regiment of Renowned Kepper Guard, who are very, very potent and deadly. You see these bad boys quite a bit because of that regeneration and anti-infantry. They just stand head and shoulders above the average Tomb Guard warrior, but they are a little bit expensive. Only 50 armor and no shields does make them relatively susceptible to long-range missile pressure. Speaking of long-range missile pressure, our entire build is designed around the old triple Ushopti great bows, one of which is the Regiment of the Renowned, the Chosen of the Gods, and these guys need to kill cavalry and characters as quickly as possible. If my opponent still has a load of cavalry left by the mid to later stages of the battle, I am probably done for because the Ushopti will get run out of town. Hidden in the trees, we do have some horsemen just lurking and hiding. We also have Ark and the Black, so we're taking a little bit of risk here. I think this is a risk almost always worth having, which is Ark and the Black, you bring them on horseback. So Waste Stalkers are going to have a fantastic time trying to snipe him out, but if your opponent hasn't brought them, or if he even has, you kind of keep him way at the back. He's just so much more mobile, able to get where he's needed to drop those summons and spirit leeches that bit quicker, and I think it is normally worth bringing him on horseback. He comes with the Tomb Blade, allowing him to have 5 summons during the course of the battle of skeleton warriors. We have the Staff and the Gash, which is very good, the Liber Mortis, and Spirit Leech. His entire job today, Spirit Leech down at key targets and summon at the right time. I'm going to be trying to keep those as into the late as the game goes. That's when I want most of my summons. I don't really care about using summons early. Maybe 1 or 2, just because we have so many, but the majority of your summons you want to keep to the later stages of the battlefield to tip the balance of power either into your favor or back to even, and jump on top of unsuspecting units. My opponent's build here, Mr. Xiphos, he's gone very wide. This is pretty traditional Wood Elf play, I'd argue, in this matchup. We just have a load of Dryads dotted all the way along the main battle line, as well as a load of Eternal Guards, and he's going to push and drive hard to try to crack the outer shell of this build and get on top of those Ushopti. We also have some Glade Riders dotted all the way along. 4 units. You don't have to go too much more elite than this. Glade Riders will do a fantastic job harassing the enemy back line. In the central portion, we have Glade Guard with Starfire Shafts, giving them that extra fire damage is quite useful. We also have the Hagbane Tips mixed in, a little bit of everything for everyone there in the middle. We also have 1 unit of War Dancers with Azrai Spears. Xiphos, clearly a man of class and culture, bringing arguably my favorite Wood Elf unit to the battlefield. They're just so freaking badass. They can flip, twirl, and stab their way to victory. Some very cool as well, almost Celtic-like tattoos over their skin. For our opponent's leader today, he's gone relatively cheap and cheerful with Drycha coming in with that summon, as well as Enfeebling Foe and Pendulum. Certainly a good pick in my humble duck opinion. Without further ado, let's get this battle underway. Arkan is able to move forward and Spirit Leech Drycha before falling back and actually managed to juke one of the volleys of arrows. He's trying to fall back behind his own forces now to safety. Ushopti are going to be switching targets. I'm kind of bounced around a little bit. I hit some Dryads and now I'm going to try and hit Drycha. Then I'm going to be trying to shoot at the Glade Guard, just bouncing around. Always trying to keep my opponent guessing of what I'm going to be doing. Horsemen do spring their trap from the trees, going for a downhill charge into the Dryads, supported by the Skeleton Spearmen. Should be a nice, easy victory, but we do get nuked ourselves by a Melkoth's Mystifying Miasma. Oh, looks like it's Melkoth's Mystifying Miasma, not Pendulum. Going to be getting dropped there on the horseman. I'm trying to pull back through my own forces, but it's looking a little bit rough for them. We are forcing off some of the Glade Guard and some nice focus fire now with the Ushopti starting to drag them down. However, my opponent comes in with a lovely summon, which is really going to put me on the back foot. Luckily, I have a bucket load of troops in that deep reserve who can simply move forward and help protect the Ushopti a little bit more. In the main fight, the Kepler Guard have been hit by an enfeebling foe, but they're still carving their way through the Dryads. Splinters, blood, and spittle going in all different directions. Drytra as well, struggling to do damage. We do pop down the Liber Mortis, giving us that 40% resistance and extra leadership, although these guys do magic damage, so there's something better to chew through the majority of that. But Woven Mist does go down on the War Dancers, giving them that missile resistance, but missile resistance does indeed help against missiles, but when it's a gigantic bow taking your head off, it's not going to do that much. In the back, you can see Glade Riders have started to harass my Ushopti, which is really not what I want. So I'm continuing to pull them back and then focus firing down the cavalry now. It is the time to bring an end to the Elvish Riders. And the Glade Riders, they're relatively decent, but they don't have the best damage output. So they won't be able to drag down Ushopti very quickly, particularly when we support them alongside Tomb Guard. Ark the Black is fighting amongst Eternal Guard, not the best engagement for me there. And we have more Eternal Guards trying to push their way around the side. Balance power is dead even, but I am not feeling it very confident or comfortable, because Dryads and Eternal Guard and Glade Riders are really starting to hammer down my front line. We still have those elite Tomb Guard though, and we have one really big thing going for me. Dryad just spent way too long amongst the Kepler Guard. We also hit her with another Spirit Leech down to just 1,200 HP. If we can break her off the battlefield, we'll be in a relatively decent position. Kepler Guard though get caught by Melkov's Mistafar Miasma and getting shot in the rear by all of these fire arrows. Of course, they do have regeneration, thus they have the weakness to fire. Not going to be going too good for them. We do summon the unit of Ushopti just to fend off Eternal Guard, which may seem like a bit of a extreme measure, but I need these Ushopti to live and to shoot consistently in. They're going to be helping finish off these Glade Riders, and now I have a unit of Tomb Guard and Archon, which can try to bounce over here and finish off with this other unit. We are slowly dragging down my opponent's cavalry, though more are starting to flood back to the battlefield from this flank. Ushopti just going to continue to drive into the Eternal Guard and force them back. We still have multiple units of our elite Tomb Guard halberds hunting down the Eternal Guard on all flanks, and the War Dancers unfortunately have been caught in an engagement they really don't want to be taken. These ladies are the ones who should be hunting down the Ushopti. Only 18 kills and kind of getting punished right now by the Tomb Guard, but hey, they look cool whilst they're dying at least. We still have more Tomb Guard. They're trying to just fall back, it would seem, at the moment, away from the bow fire. The Summon Unit Ushopti will be going down relatively soon. We also do have a Liber Mortis go down just onto the Chosen, just to keep them fighting as much as possible. Alk the Black is surrounded, but that just means he can attack in any direction, and the Glade Riders are now forced back. Look at the piles of bodies. He pinned them in place, they surrounded him, and the Chosen of Gods made them suffer. But once again, really good play by my opponent, just whipping the cavalry up and around and darting down onto the Ushopti. In the front line, Eternal Guard are just swarming all over the place, and this is looking really bad. The one super good thing we've got going for us again, though, is Dryad is very low, and the Ushopti are going to turn to unleash a volley, plus a Overcast Spirit on top of that to get her in range, and we should be able to drag down the dreaded lady of Athalauren. 166 HP certainly isn't much. Is she going to shatter, or is she going to come back? It looks like she is going to go down there in a death kind of embrace by the Spirit Leech. But at what cost? Our infantry is barely holding on. Our Ushopti is being chased all around the battlefield, and Archon the Black is surrounded. But he pops a Skeleton Warrior summon, I believe our first summon of the day actually, and they're starting to carve down the Glade Riders rather handily here and pin in the Eternal Guard. But more importantly, it should allow Archon to flee out of this engagement and get to a bit of a safer avenue of the battlefield, where he can just, cast spells, cackle, and continue to spam those summons, because we have so many left. But he does have to be in combat to recharge them, though that recharge can be brought down by his glorious staff. Ushopti Great Bow is going to be fleeing from the Eternal Guard and the Dryads right now, just trying to leg it. There are some Glade Riders nearby. I'm going to pop Spirit Leech onto them. I want rid of all of this cavalry as quickly as possible. So we're going to jump them with Archon, jump them with the Spirit Leech, and the Ushopti are going to be falling back in different directions. We can't really outpace the Dryads too well. We can outpace the Eternal Guard, and this is going to buy time for our Ushopti to do some lovely crossfire into the Dryads and attempt to break them off. Even with Archon nearby as well, that should be relatively decent engagement for us now, and they have indeed been broken. We've taken out the faster unit. Now we can kite back against the Eternal Guard, and that's going to be our main mission now, is kite at all opportunities. Tomb Guard have managed to defeat some of the Dryads and force back Eternal Guard. We still have 74 Tomb Guard in the middle, and the halberds on the flank are eventually getting dragged down by those War Dancers, who are now up to 32 kills as they hack and slice their way through bone and rotten flesh. Ark and the Black going to continue to hunt down the Dryads. They're just fleeing right now. Flee, you cowards! Run before the might of a rather slow and strutting Ark and the Black. He's not in any rush, but the rest of my troops are. Eternal Guard have been whittled down. We're going to be moving these Shopti Great Bows into combat, looking just to break the hearts of the Eternal Guard as they're very close to the board edge. We can now turn around and start doing some volleys back into these pesky Glade Guard who have started to run relatively thin on ammunition, but there is so many elves on the battlefield. My opponent's doing such a good job of picking apart my Tomb Guard with his long range, getting decent engagements, surrounds, rear attacks. It's looking pretty bleak, though the balance of power is even. I think that's simply due to the fact that my lord is still alive. Ushopti gonna be going down here as well. They're loosing a couple of last volleys into the Eternal Guard, realizing they're probably the biggest threat. There's not that much ammunition left on my opponents. If we can kill the Eternal Guard, we can kill an infinite amount of Glade Guard in combat. At least that's the idea. Ushopti are going to be trying to rotate and escape up around here to try to rally ourselves to the Tomb Guard. I realize at this point, hey, I need to get to my infantry. My army's simply too spread apart. Arkin was getting surrounded as well. I'm force-clicking him so many times to get out of here. Lieber Morris does go down, buffing his leadership and getting that physical resistance, which is quite nice up against the Eternal Guard. But he is struggling so bad. His horse is so knackered despite being undead. I mean, that might be the reason why it's knackered. I'm just trying to get him to freedom, trying to get him over here to the Tomb Guard. I want to support them, but they're crumbling it pretty fast. And Ushopti Great Bows are on the run at the moment, looking once again to try to bring all of my forces back together again and rally around these forces. But just as we get here, they're crumbling pretty bad. Only 26 models left, and Arkan not looking at too juicy, but he is able to juke a few shots, and we do bring up a Skeleton Warrior summon here to try to drag down the Eternal Guard, and our Arkan the Black a place to hide. We do pop Staff in the Gash, reducing the ability recharge rate by 30 seconds. Now, in combat does also mean chasing down routing units, so I'm looking to break units, chase them down with Arkan to get more skeleton summons where possible, and the Eternal Guard are actually really starting to struggle without their leader nearby. A lot of them are breaking. Of course, we do cause fear, which is particularly useful here. However, the bounce power is very, very against us right now. Ushopti down to 7 models are going to be coming in for a rear attack. We have a decent amount of ammunition left. I'm looking just to break this formation. In they come, slapping the Eternal Guard to the side. Skeleton Warriors and Arkan trying to support where possible. And at this point, we can then pull our Ushopti through our summon and start chasing off these Eternal Guard, and that's just what we're going to be doing. I need to play the slow game at the moment. I need this battle to go on as long as physically possible, and we're going to be popping Spirit Leeches on Eternal God and just trying to save up for more Skeleton Warrior summons, because that is 100% what we need. Ushopti doing a fantastic job shattering a unit of Eternal Guard. The second unit as well is now in their grasp, and if we can break them, we still have ammunition that we can turn upon our enemies and drag them down. Ark the Black, only 59 kills so far, but he's done a pretty pivotal job so far with these Skeleton Warrior summons. We were able to break off 3 units, and now it is Arkan's job to ensure that the Eternal Guard continuously get chased off. I cannot afford to have them rallying today. The Ushopti going to be shooting into the back of the Eternal Guard, just shattering them, which is good news for them. There is some more Eternal Guard here as well, but a decent amount of Glade Guard are still left standing. At the end of the day, they're still Elves, and Elves pretty elite as far as it goes as forces in the new and old world. So Glade Guard, though they are ranged troops, still come in with a relatively impressive 21 melee attack and 28 melee defense there as they push forward looking to get to grips with Arkan. So we actually are chasing the Eternal Guard. The majority of their unit is actually over here. So I'm looking to break them down and shatter them, or at least push them off the edge of the battlefield. And whilst we're doing this, we are recharging that Skeleton Warrior summon, but I'm still not feeling confident. The bounce power is quite heavily against us. There are so many elves on the battlefield. We have 7 models versus 213, and now the Eternal Guard have managed to reach the Ushopti, but that fear is really helping out, and the Eternal Guard are consistently breaking at the moment, fleeing from the battlefield, and it is down to Arkan. Can he stand and hold back the tides of Glade Guard whilst the Ushopti deal with the enemy, get over here and come back and support? He only has 442 HP, but he is able to force off the Eternal Guard, and more importantly, summon from the depths of the desert a army of Skeleton Warriors. 150 warriors appear on the battlefield, and they just start taking heads off the Elvish warriors here, really bringing the pain to them, dragging them down, doing a bucket ton of damage, and we actually are able to shatter that unit before hunting down the second unit, which is broken. A Pyrrhic victory if ever I've seen one. I had 7 models left at the end of the game, and somehow we managed to take a victory off the warrior god himself, the mighty Xiphos. We did play a couple of other games as well. They're very good, a lot less close though, a lot more one-sided, but you can go see them on Green One's Twitch channel. And fighting Xiphos, honestly, was a breath of fresh air. It was so nice to face a player who's very talented. Xiphos is a way better player than me, which is honestly some of the best players to play when you know you're outmatched and you're kind of the underdog and trying to scrap back. But he also has a really fun and interesting play style, and he's also just a super chill dude. We were chatting through the majority of the games and kind of in between games. Hopefully we get to face him at some point again in a tournament or just in some quick battles or some friendly games. We did manage to get 69 kills on Ark on the Black, so he certainly had a good time. And you know who else had a good time? Hopefully you guys watching this video. And if you did, make sure to leave a big fat juicy thumbs up, subscribe to the channel as well for more content into the future, and leave a comment down below what you thought of this game. It was a really good fun one all round, and all of those things do super help out the channel. If you also want to help out the channel, there are links down below in the description to my Patreon, to my Discord, where you can submit replays, get involved in tournaments, live streams. I think we have over like 800 members now in there. It's kind of crazy. So feel free to come through, practice the game, learn the game, and get involved in all those live streams. I do indeed do. Also a link down below to Twitch, where I do 1 or 2 streams a week as well. Once again, well played to Xiphos, and let's get back here to the battle. So the mighty Ark on the Black, 1.2k damage value, not too shabby whatsoever, and a mighty 69 kills. Skeleton Warriors across the board just died, but hey, that was kind of their role. They held back the enemy a decent amount of time, considering they're up against Dryads as well as Eternal Guard. The reason I was bringing the Spear variety as well is a lot of Wood Elf players will go just mass cavalry here and Kite, and these guys are pretty decent at counter. This build in general is relatively decent against Kite, because you have so much chaff to protect the Ushopti, and of course the Spears help out against Glade Riders and you know, anything cavalry or large based in general. Tomb Guard, 76 and 113 kills, getting 820 and 700 damage value, not too shabby whatsoever. The Halberdiers, 498 and 391 value. Don't know if they're necessary here. Might be better just bringing in more basic Tomb Guard, but they did their job once again, helping protect the Ushopti in the back. Kepler Guard got 946 damage value, 67 kills. Certainly took a limb or two off of Dreicher and helped drive into the center of the Wood Elf build and absorb a lot of missile pressure at the same time. Horsemen kind of got sacrificed by me as yeeted them in and they died, but hey, they again held back the enemy to allow the Ushopti to shine. He got 74, 59 and 46 kills, 857, 543 and 973 damage value. Doesn't seem too crazy when taken into consideration they basically killed Dreicher with the help of those Spirit Leeches, took away the War Dancers, and took away the Cavalry. That was what enabled us to win, because Ark then was able to kite in the later stages of the game and get those lovely skeleton summons down. As for Xiphos, Dreicher got 638 damage value, 79 kills, not too bad whatsoever. Eternal Guard, kind of mid-hundreds, mid to low hundreds. Assuming it's going to be relatively same for the Dryads. Yeah, kind of low hundreds for the most part for damage value. Impressive kills though, 108, 96, 88, 96 again, 38. They did a decent job. Eternal Guard with shields did perform pretty good. 440 and 292 damage value doesn't seem crazy again. They were able just to push in and drive at my build. War Dancers, I love them dearly. They just could not get, unfortunately, in the right place at the right time. So 285 damage value for them. As for the Glade Guard of Hagbane Tips, 465 damage. The Starfire Shafts, 1.2, 1.1, and 985 damage value. I just couldn't get to them, and Xiphos did a good job protecting them. Good target priority, got a load of value on them. The Glade Riders were a pain in my butt. Luckily, Ushopti are relatively solid constructs. We were able to crossfire them down and get other reinforcements and summons and Archon in the back there to help protect my back line. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. It was super fun to play, and once again, super fun to cast as well. Until next time, peace, and as always, stay awesome.